Good evening, and welcome. And I hope everyone can hear me because you're about to discover, as a collective, exactly how much we rely on Luke for his technical understanding of of how all this stuff works. Welcome. Normally at this time, we'd be about to introduce one of our traveller sessions, but we are without Luke this evening, entirely without Luke. We are Luke free, and accordingly, we're not going to be able to do that. So, we have a new plan for this weekend and for next weekend. Luke is unavailable on the Friday, and so we've moved our Traveller session to the Saturday. So we're doing Traveller tomorrow instead. And in the meantime, we are going to have a go at the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, the very first of the fighting fantasy game books. First published in 1982, and I have no idea how many subsequent publications or printings there were, because my copy is literally the very first edition they ever released. One of many of these books that I have in my collection. So, let me show you the screen, and that will also show you us, and I'll introduce us. So, I am at the bottom right of your screen. I'm Ben. It's very nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. And on the top right of your screen, almost at the very top right, but sort of just underneath our Boys in the Baltic Star banner, we have Ewan. How are you this evening, Ewan? Are you well?
I'm very good, thanks, Ben. Very good. I'm optimistic.
Optimistic. Good.
Optimistic about an evening without Luke, and optimistic about us not dying in the first 5 minutes and having a really short stream.
Well,
it's going to be great.
I should point out that these games were intended to have a degree of replay value. And accordingly, this one, I suspect we're probably going to turn down the wrong path and just suddenly be dead a couple of times. So we're going to have to keep a very careful track of what we of where we've been and what the paragraph numbers are, so that we can effectively have a video game style save point that we can jump back to and have another go.
That sounds very fair.
So the very first thing we need to do is roll our characters. And we've had a bit of practice at this recently, but the characters we need to roll are the three characteristics only. We need a characteristic for skill, one for stamina, and one for luck. So get a pen and paper ready and get a couple of dice in your hand. 6-sided dice. This is old-fashioned role-playing.
Wonderful. Pick out some good ones, not like last time.
Well, let's hope for the best. You never know. Roll 1d6 first and add 6 to it to get your skill score. That's not a good start for me. That's a total of 8.
I rolled a 3, so it's a total of 9.
Excellent. Then 2d6 plus 12 for your stamina. Oh, that's a bit better.
No, not so much. So there's a 5 for me, plus 12 is 17.
Okay, I rolled an 11 plus 12, which is 23.
Ooh, very nice.
And then we need luck, which is 1d6 plus 6 again.
That's a 4 plus 6.
I got the same. So 10.
Very nice.
Right. Now, because there are two of us and it is scaled on the basis it's a solo adventure, what we always used to do when we did this as youngsters was, for each, if you're doing multiples, for each player in the party, you subtract 2 points from anywhere you choose.
Okay.
So there are two of us. That means we each have to subtract 4 from our totals. For me, that's a really easy choice. I'm going to knock them all off stamina and leave me with 19.
Ooh. 4 off any one total.
Or scatter them any way you like.
Or 2 off. Oh, that's a tricky one.
Remember that stamina is easy to recapture, to get back.
Yeah.
And
Like a one-time use.
yeah, and
Yeah.
if you pick the right potion, you can also get an automatic 1-point boost to luck, which I'll explain later, which is a permanent boost to your maximum luck.
Very nice. Okay, I'm going to take 1. I'm going to take 2 off my stamina and 2 off my luck.
Okay.
Just to be quick and
straightforward.
Not beat around the bush over a decision that's probably going to end up not mattering too much because we're going to die anyway.
Okay, so basically, we each start the game with 10 sets of provisions, 10 food. And you can eat them only when the game book lets you. This isn't a free-form RPG. And so you have to keep track of that. So your food starts at 10.
Yep.
When you eat a food, you get +4 to your stamina, but it can't go past your starting value.
Sure.
And then you can also have your choice of a potion. Just one. So basically, a potion of skill restores your skill points to their starting value. In my experience, though there are occasionally things that can rob you of skill, it's really rare, so I wouldn't have one of those. A potion of strength restores your stamina points up to their starting value. And a potion of fortune, when you take it, doesn't only restore luck points, but also gives you a permanent 1 to initial luck as well. So, as a youngster, we always took a potion of fortune because you could rely on food a little bit to get your stamina back.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can you take potions whenever? Is this, or do you again have to wait for a prompt?
You can take potions whenever you want in the adventure.
Wonderful. I think I'm going to go with the restoring full stamina.
Okay. A potion of strength, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I shall go with a potion of fortune because, well, my stamina's not too bad, and my the benefit of being able to get your luck points back to +1 and keep that is potentially handy. But actually, other than my, frankly, a bit disappointing skill, mine's not too bad.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So essentially, our adventure takes place in Firetop Mountain, and before we begin, there is a set of rumours that we need to listen to and understand, and we don't know which of these are true potentially. So, it says, only a foolhardy adventurer would embark upon such a perilous quest without first finding out as much as possible about the mountain and its treasures. Before your arrival at the foot of Firetop Mountain, you spent several days with the townsfolk of a local village, or the village folk of a local town, some 2 days' journey from the base. Being a likeable sort of person, you found it easy to get on with the local peasants, possibly by not calling them peasants a lot. Although they told many stories about the mysterious Warlock sanctuary, you could not feel sure that all, or indeed any, of these were based on fact. The villagers had seen many adventurers pass through on their way to the mountain, but very few on the other way of coming back. The journey ahead was extremely dangerous. That you knew for sure. Of those who returned to the village, none contemplated going back to Firetop Mountain. There seemed to be some truth in the rumour that the Warlock's treasure was stored in a magnificent chest with 2 locks, and the keys to these locks were guarded by various creatures within the dungeons. The Warlock himself was a sorcerer of great power. Some described him as old, others as young. Some said his power came from an enchanted deck of cards, which always ends well, others from the silky black gloves that he wore. The entrance to the mountain was guarded by a pack of warty-faced goblins, stupid creatures, fond of their food and drink. Towards the inner chambers, the creatures became more fearsome. To reach the inner chambers, you would have to cross a river. The ferry service was regular, but the ferryman enjoyed a good barter, so you should save a gold piece for the trip. The locals also encouraged you to keep a good map of your wanderings, for without a map you would end up hopelessly lost within the mountain. When it finally came to your day of leaving, the whole village turned out to wish you a safe journey. Tears came to the eyes of many of the women, young and old alike. You couldn't help wondering whether they were tears of sorrow shed by eyes which would never see you again. And then it just says, now turn over.
Very nice. Very nice.
And we get to section 1.
Good stuff. Welcome, Chespionage, to the Boys from the Baltic Star. You're just in time for the intro and section 1, paragraph 1.
We're about to find out how well this plays as a stream for two of us.
We are indeed.
Sitting in different houses and streaming it across the internet. We will find out. I suspect the actual story will be as entertaining as I remember it. We'll see. So, paragraph 1. At last, your 2-day hike is over. You unsheath your sword, lay it on the ground, and sigh with relief as you lower yourself down onto the mossy rocks to sit for a moment's rest. You stretch, rub your eyes, and finally look up at Firetop Mountain. The very mountain itself looks menacing. The steep face in front of you looks to have been savaged by the claws of some gargantuan beast. Sharp rocky crags jut out at unnatural angles. At the top of the mountain you can see the eerie red colouring, probably some strange vegetation, which has given the mountain its name. Perhaps no one will ever know exactly what grows up there, as climbing the peak must surely be impossible. Your quest lies ahead of you. Across the clearing is a dark cave entrance. You pick up your sword, get to your feet, and consider what dangers may lie ahead of you. But with determination, you thrust the sword home into its scabbard and approach the cave. You peer into the gloom to see dark, slimy walls with pools of water on the stone floor in front of you. The air is cold and dank. You light your lantern and step warily into the blackness. Cobwebs brush your face, and you hear the scurrying of tiny feet. Rats, most likely. You set off into the cave. After a few yards, you arrive at a junction. Will you turn west or east?
Well, first things first, I'm going to draw a little junction. I'm happy for you to choose, Ben, if you wish to give this one a go.
Well, I'm going to say let's start west, because we have no information other than west or east. So let's start west.
Yeah, I mean, that's a traditional old school dungeoneering technique, isn't it? Stick to the left wall and eventually you'll find your way around the dungeon.
Absolutely.
Left or right wall, I forget which one.
I'm sure it's a technique that the guys who wrote this book had never heard of.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay. So we turn to paragraph, sorry, it's not actually the page numbers, 71. There is a right-hand turn to the north in the passage. Cautiously, you approach a sentry post on the corner. And as you look in, you can see a strange, goblin-like creature in leather armour asleep at his post. You try to tiptoe past him. Test your luck. If you're lucky, he does not wake up and remains snoring loudly. If you're unlucky, you step with a crunch on some loose ground and his eyes flick open. Now, as the pair of us are kind of cheating by having two characters in here, whenever this kind of thing happened, we always insisted that we both had to hit our luck.
Yeah, I suppose that seems fair. Did you say this was 71, Ben?
71, yes.
Wonderful. I'm going to try and do it sort of like that. That kind of works, doesn't it?
Yeah, that looks great.
That's roughly what's happening. Perfect. And I'll test my luck, I suppose.
Okay.
Are we aiming for equal to or under?
Equal to or less than your luck on 2d6, yeah.
Wonderful. Ooh, just.
Yeah, I hit my luck spot on.
I was one under with a 7.
Now, I'm afraid if you remember, that actually costs you a luck point
Yes.
every
I
time
do
you test your luck.
indeed. I forgot that I would not be in charge of testing my luck for this game.
Yes.
In the role-playing version, we could choose whether we wanted to use our luck.
Well, you still can if you want to do additional damage or mitigate damage.
Mm.
But the other situations like this, I'm afraid you're very much in the hands of Messrs. Jackson and Livingston.
Yes, that makes sense, and something that I was completely unprepared for, which is perfect, frankly.
There will no doubt be many other things that we are completely unprepared
Yes. For. Yeah.
However, we have been lucky, so it's section 301 we go to.
Wonderful.
To your left, on the west face of the passage, there is a rough-cut wooden door. You listen at the door and can hear a rasping sound, which may be some sort of creature snoring. Do you want to open the door? If so, turn to 82. If you want to press on northwards, turn to a different one.
Wow. It sounds ominous. The adventurer in me would certainly open the door, but I don't think you one would. We can't even vote on it. Chat, what do you think?
Open it. Okay.
Open it. Let's open the door.
We have a real fan here, so yes, let's absolutely open it. To open the door, we turn to 82. The door opens to reveal a small, smelly room. In the centre of the room is a rickety wooden table on which stands a lit candle. Underneath the table is a small wooden box. Asleep on a straw mattress in the far corner of the room is a short, stocky creature with an ugly, warty face, the same sort of creature that you found asleep at the sentry post. He must be the guard for the night watch. You may either return to the corridor and continue northwards, or creep into the room and try to take the box without waking the creature. If you want to try to steal the box, test your luck. If you're lucky, he doesn't wake up, and if you're unlucky, well, you can imagine.
I certainly can.
Okay, so we have three options now. We can return to the corridor and creep off to the north. We can go for the box and succeed or fail. So what are we doing it? We can't push our luck forever, but I'm tempted to say... we've got to try a few things, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. Let's give it a go. Apologies quickly. Which number was this that we're on?
We're in 82 now.
82. Thanks. I'll try and keep up in the future.
Panic not.
Let's give it a go.
Yes. Right. Testing of luck again. Wow, I did really well then.
Oh, I again made it by 1. I got a 6. My luck is currently at 7. It's about to go down once again.
I made it by 4, so very comfortably made it. Nice. I can't help feeling though that luck is a resource that I'm running out of.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're lucky, he doesn't wake up. So we were lucky. 147. You leave the room and open your box in the passage. Inside you find a single piece of gold and a small mouse, which must have been the creature's pet. You keep the coin and release the mouse, which scurries off down the passageway. Gain 2 luck points. Okay, so we get 2 back.
Oh, wonderful.
Frankly, we desperately need.
Yeah, most definitely. And a gold coin to pay the ferryman.
Well, that does seem like something we were desperately going to need.
Yeah.
Yes, I see Luke has turned up in chat and is enthusiastically telling us to lick the box. It's not an option, Luke. I'm sorry. I mean, it should be, obviously.
There is no paragraph for lick box.
No, and I'm going to go ahead and guess here, but I'm suspecting there is very little you can lick in the whole adventure. Okay, so we are heading north again up the passageway. So, further up the passage along the west wall, you see another door. You listen at it, but hear nothing. If you want to try opening the door or continue northwards, those are the choices.
We're back to full luck, aren't we?
We are. Which I'm not sure we strictly deserve, but...
Yeah. No, I suppose not.
So, I mean, I get the feeling that we probably should try opening doors because...
Well, they go places, don't they?
You never know.
Let's open the door. Let's see what happens.
Open the door. Okay. 397. I always used to hate these ones that come right close to the end of the book and you think, are we done yet?
Is 397 inside the door?
That's... Yes, essentially.
Wonderful.
The door opens to reveal a small room with a stone floor and dirty walls. There is a stale smell in the air. Not smelly this time, but stale apparently. In the centre of the room is a makeshift wooden table on which is standing a lit candle. There are a lot of lit candles in this place. Under the table is a small box. In the far corner of the room is a straw mattress. You may either open the box or leave the room. So essentially I have a strong feeling that this may be the unoccupied room for the other guardsmen.
Yeah. Also, just a quick note that my small room is going to be exactly the same size as every other room because it makes drawing a lot easier.
I concur completely, yes. That's completely logical.
This is not to scale.
Yes.
But let's open the box. There's no danger here, right?
As far as we know, no. So let's open the box. Turn to 240. 240. If we open the box. Oh, this is going to go terribly. The box is light, but something rattles within. You open the lid, and a small snake darts out to bite at your wrist. We now have to fight the snake.
Wonderful.
Now, here we go. This should be a fairly easy one. I think this is a bit of a loosener, to be honest.
Yeah.
The snake has skill 5 and stamina 2. So as soon as we land a hit on it, it's done. Okay. So we both roll 2d6 and add our skill, which is actually my weakness in this game.
2d6 and add our skill.
Yep. So that gives me a total of 16.
Well, I rolled a 3, so that gives me a 12.
Okay. And the snake... 8 plus 5 is 13. Okay. So, what we're going to do is roll 1d6 to find out which of us it went for. On a 1, 2, or 3, it's you.
Yeah.
It's a 6, so it went for me, which means it went for me and failed to hit me, and I hit it with 1, which is enough to kill it. Result: the snake has been defeated, and I now have a snakeskin wristwatch band or something. So,
yeah.
We have killed the snake. We turn to 145. Ooh. The box has fallen to the ground during your fight with the snake, and out of it has fallen a bronze-coloured key with the number 99 carved on it. You may take this key with you. So, bronze key with the number 99 we have, okay.
Are you writing these down? Do you want me to write these down?
I'll make a note as I go for anything interesting.
Perfect.
Okay.
Snakeskin wristband.
Snakeskin wristwatch band, absolutely. Right, so, and then you can leave the room. Add 1 luck point. However, I actually can't add a luck point. I'm at max.
Yeah, same. Same as me.
So 363 we turn to after leaving the room.
Wonderful. Is this the north? Is this north of the corridor?
Yes, essentially, I think we're continuing north.
To 363. Perfect.
Yep. Because it says, further up the passage on the west wall, a lot of stuff on the west wall, you see another similar door. You listen at the door and grimace to hear the worst singing you've ever heard in your life. Do you want to go into the room to investigate this thunderous din, or walk on up the passageway?
Oh, Luke's in there.
I feel we have to face and kill Luke in order to proceed. So clearly, I mean, we've started this trend now of opening everything and not just flicking past them. And so far, we've got coin, we've got key. I mean, it feels like it's a thing we need.
Yeah, I mean, we've not done badly, have we? Let's go for it. I think chat is quite keen that we open doors.
I think chat is right. I think chat is clearly on the right page here. So yes, we will do so, and we will go into the room, and it is apparently 370 is the thing.
Glorious.
Right. The door opens to reveal a small room. The room is dirty and unkempt. A straw mattress lies in one corner. In the centre of the room is a wooden table upon which a candle burns, lighting the room with its flickering flame. A small box rests under the table. Seated around the table are 2 small creatures with warty skin dressed in leather armour. They are drinking some sort of grog, and by the way they stagger to their feet on your arrival, you assume they are very drunk. You may either draw your sword and leap forward at them, or slam the door quickly and run up the passage. So are we going for fighting them, or basically running away?
Let's fight them.
I tend to concur. Yeah, we've probably got these guys. They're drunk, and they may well, in fact, be goblins. So turn to 116 in order to fight. 116.
Wonderful.
They are in fact not goblins. The 2 drunken orcs you now face are obviously startled at your entrance, and as quickly as they are able, they fumble around for the weapons. You must attack each one in turn. Their drunkenness allows you to add 1 point to your dice roll when rolling to work out your attack strength during each attack round. Oh. Now, as there are 2 of them, how about we take 1 each for the time being?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Do you want first or second orc? They have slightly different stats, but it's not fair that I can look at the stats and pick mine, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. I'll take the second orc.
You take the second orc. Okay. Your orc has skill 5 and stamina 5.
Skill 5, stamina 5.
Okay. So, I will take the other one, and let's go for it. So my attack, not terrible, gives me a 16. And it's enough. So the first orc takes a hit. Okay.
Right. So my attack is a 5, which gives me a 14. Mm-hmm. And then do I roll again and add 5?
You essentially roll a stamina. You get to roll. You get to add 1 to your skill because it's drunk.
Oh yes.
And you roll for the orc as well, basically.
Cool. So it's a 15.
Because it's got skill 5 and stamina 5.
And I rolled a 3 for the orc. Plus 5 is 8, so that hits.
Excellent. Which means it loses 2 stamina each time you land a hit like that.
Wonderful. And then after you, Ben.
My second go is enough to dispatch my orc. It had 4 stamina, and though I didn't roll particularly brilliantly, it was enough. partly because it was drunk.
Yeah, very nice. I rolled a 6, so that's a 16 for me. And
Excellent.
then that is a 9 plus 5 for the orc, so that works.
He is down to 1 stamina.
I shall go one more time, hopefully. Famous last words. That's an 8, which is pretty good for an 18.
Brilliant. In fact, a bit of basic maths tells me.
Well, yes, actually, that's a very good point. It was a 7, just in case anyone was in doubt. 5 plus 12 equaling. Very good stuff.
Excellent. The orcs have been defeated. To be fair, I didn't read beyond that. It did give you the opportunity to escape if you wanted to. We didn't really need to, but it did give us the opportunity. So, if you win the battle, turn to 378, and we did indeed win the battle.
Wonderful. I'm not actually going to write down all these little side numbers. Just
I
as
don't
a
blame
point.
you.
I mean, I can do, but to be honest, I think the save point should more be the room than the...
Yeah. And we can always reconstruct it once we know which room we were in and what was going on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Cool.
So, 378. You wipe your bloodied sword on the mattress. The green blood leaves a slimy stain on the straw. Stepping over the bodies towards the table, you flinch at the foul stench of the creatures. You pick up the box from under the table and examine it. It is a small wooden box with crude hinges. The name Farigo DiMaggio is inscribed on a brass nameplate on its lid. And we can open it or leave it behind when we leave the room. Whichever you fancy.
Let's open it. I mean, in fact, we've had 2 good boxes, really, if you don't count the snake that attacked us.
Sure. But, I mean, even that ultimately proved rewarding.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
In the long run.
We're going to open it. That's 296. Opening it. $296. There's a little mark on the page here, which maybe this was a point I got to before when I was like 11.
Nice.
The box contains a small leather-bound book entitled The Making and Casting of Dragonfire. You open the pages and begin to read. Fortunately, it's written in your own language, and so is probably not understood by the orcs. Otherwise, this treasure would certainly not be as loosely guarded as it was. The book is written in tiny handwriting by Farigo DiMaggio. In it, he tells the story of his life's work, the creation of the Dragonfire spell with which to fight evil dragons. You read how, in his last years, Farigo finally perfected the spell, but by then was too old to make use of it. So he completed his book, locked it in a chest, and hid it in the depths of Firetop Mountain, afraid that it might fall into the wrong hands. The last page reads, "And so, you who now hold this book, you have my life's work in your hands. The power of destruction is yours if you wish it, but do not waste it. Unless you use the spell for the purpose for which it was intended, you shall be consumed by evil itself, and die by the fire from your own hands. Remember, only when the dragon breathes its fire at you should you raise your arms and say, Ekil Erif, Ekam Erif, Erif DiMaggio." You say these words slowly and softly. Suddenly the pages seem to glow, and as this glow disappears, so do the words on the pages. You repeat the spell to yourself to memorize it, and leave the room. Turn to 42. Okay. I cannot remember for the life of me if I actually need to write that down, because I'm not sure. I've no clue. However, because it's quite distinctive on the page, it actually looks like a bit of parchment printed and written out. I'll be able to find it again if I need it.
Yeah. Plus, if we've got...
It may just say, do you have the Dragonfire spell at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, so turn to 42. Yes, we can do that. You eventually arrive at the end of the passage, at a 3-way junction. You may either turn to the west or to the east.
Oh, well. We've had this decision before.
We have. And
I don't feel any more prepared for it this time than
No.
I did last time. Okay.
No, it's still shockingly the wrong choice, isn't it? I'm tempted to argue that clearly West worked last time, and therefore we should probably start off that way and work our way back around to the east. But it's purely logic on my part. It doesn't actually necessarily work based on magic books.
No, yeah, I mean, that definitely makes sense. I'm happy to agree, unless anyone has any strong feelings that we should go east. I'm happy with west. That works for me.
Okay, we'll give east is a good alternative.
It certainly is.
It is a good alternative. I just feel we're going to ultimately explore everywhere, and keep going in one direction might mean that we don't have to backtrack quite so much. But I could be wrong. You either turn to the west. So the west takes us to 257.
Wonderful.
The passageway runs straight for several metres and then ends at a wooden door. You listen at the door and hear angry shouting coming from within. Will you investigate or turn back? I mean, I feel I already know the answer to this question.
Yeah, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens.
So far, we've opened every door we've passed. We've opened every box we've seen.
Yeah. And nothing's gone drastically wrong.
Not so far. But this is a fighting fantasy book. They sometimes do have just random dead ends, by which I mean you just die. So we'll see. Okay. Will you investigate? Turn to 168 to investigate.
168.
You open the door to a large room. A large chair behind a solid-looking table suggests to you that someone or something of rank uses this room. A chest in the centre catches your eye. In a corner of the room stands a man-sized creature with a warty face, standing over a smaller creature of similar race, with a whip in his hand. The orc chieftain has been beating his servant, who is whimpering beneath him. Will you attack them both, or spring at the chieftain in the hope that his servant will aid you, or leave the room, quietly close the door and head back to the junction?
I mean, it sounds like a good alternative, but I'm very tempted to say go for the chieftain.
Go for the chieftain.
Unless,
yeah. Go for the chieftain and ignore the whimpering servant.
Yeah.
Let's give it a shot. In order to do that, we turn to 65. As you spring at the chieftain, his servant rises to his feet, picks up a hefty wooden stick and joins the melee. But to your disappointment, he attacks you. I'm grateful, Reg. Seeing this, you may choose to escape through the door down the corridor, or continue the fight. If you choose to escape, you suffer normal escaping penalties. Basically, they get one free hit at you.
Yeah.
I feel very strongly that they need punishing, yes?
Yeah, sure. Let's attempt to punish them for their... I can't even think of the words now.
Continue the fight, 372.
We tried to help the guy.
We did our very best.
Yeah. That deserves punishment.
Okay, we have the Orc Chieftain and the Servant. It won't surprise you to learn that they have different stats. So, do you want to just roll a d6 and see which of us gets which to start with?
Yeah, that sounds fair. This feels like a more obvious choice of the easier. If you wanted
looking at the stats, you would definitely be right. Yes. Okay, so on a 1, 2, or 3, I'll take the Chieftain.
Cool.
It is indeed a 3. So, your stats, the servant has skill 5 and stamina 3. You might well be done before I am. Okay.
You never know.
So the Orc Chieftain has skill 6 and skill 7, and stamina 6. Off we go. My attack, actually that's pretty good. A 10 plus 8 is 18. And the Chieftain rolls 6 plus 7. So he loses 2 of his stamina in the first round.
Wonderful. My attack is a 9 plus 9 is an 18.
Then just a quick glance at the maths.
Which is pretty good, but yeah, you are the maths expert.
Yep, that means you've definitely got 2 stamina off him.
Now, should I finish this one off, Ben? Can I join you in the fight? Is that how you used to play multiplayers, or do I wait? I'm happy either way.
I would finish him off and then come and join me in a 2-on-1 at the end.
Wonderful. Can I test the luck to try and do extra damage in that case?
You absolutely can. 2d6 and roll under or equal to your luck.
Oh, just about. That's an 8.
Excellent.
Which is my luck.
It will cost you a luck point.
Yep.
But your servant is doomed. He goes down
Wonderful.
with your sword in him.
Good stuff.
Excellent. So we both get to have a go now at the Orc Chieftain. So my roll is 8 plus 8 is 16.
Mine is a 4 plus 9 for a 13.
13. Okay, let's see what he does. Oh, that is not lucky. He's rolled a 3. Plus 7 is 10.
Ooh.
So between us, we've gutted him. He is defeated. Excellent. So if you defeat them both, turn to 21. We did, in fact, defeat them both. The green blood of the dead orcs smells foul as it seeps from their bodies. You step around the corpses and investigate the chest. It is a sturdy affair, made of strong oak and iron, and is firmly locked. You may try to smash the lock with your sword, or leave it alone and go through the open door.
Again, this feels like another surely we should open this situation to me.
I don't disagree. So you want to smash the lock with your sword, that's 339. The lock was obviously inadequate. It flies off and lands on the floor several meters away. You lift up the heavy lid and your eyes widen as you see the gold sheen coming from within. A fair number of gold pieces are inside. In one corner lies a small black bottle with a tight glass stopper containing a liquid of some kind. Also in the chest is a silky black glove. But as you are admiring this treasure, you hear a soft click and wince in pain as a small dart shoots forward into your stomach. Roll 1 die and subtract this number of points from your stamina to determine the effect of the poison on the dart tip. I think, to be fair, as it wasn't just whoever's fingers were in it, it was fired out at us, we can both take the hit.
Yeah, that sounds fair. That sounds fair.
So I rolled a 2. That's not too bad.
And I rolled a 5. And is that off my stamina?
Yep, I'm afraid so.
Oh, brutal. Okay, cool.
Okay. If you're still alive, well, I am. Are you still alive?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. I had to check for a minute, but I am still here. Both me and my character.
Brilliant. Turn to 201. You sink to the floor. You pull the dart out and decide to bandage the wound. That's a solid call. This gives some relief, but you still feel weak. You decide to take it easy and examine the contents of the chest. But if you wish, you may eat some provisions here. There are 25 gold pieces, and the label on the bottle shows it to be a potion of invisibility. Good for 1 dose. The glove is a mystery. You may put any or all of these into your haversack and leave the room. Now, I think we did hear mention of silk gloves as being part of the power of the wizard, possibly. So I think we want a glove, don't we?
Yeah.
And a potion of invisibility we definitely want. Depending on exactly how it gets used, we may have to imagine it's enough for 2. We'll find out.
Yeah, that sounds fair. And to be fair, we probably want the gold as well. We heard rumour that we'd need to save 1 gold for the ferryman, but he might charge more. His rates might have gone up. Inflation.
Yeah.
The mere mention of the word "save 1 gold" implies that we'll have to spend other gold on other things.
How creepy would it be if, when we get to the bit where you've got to pay the ferryman, he says, "As there are 2 of you today."
Well, exactly. Yeah. Most definitely.
I wouldn't put it past Jackson and Livingston to have had special powers at some point.
I'm going to take a bit of provisions.
Okay.
As Luke has pointed out, to keep my stamina high.
Yes, it's a good plan.
Fair, that brings me almost back up to 4 stamina. I rolled very poorly for my stamina, Luke, and ended up with a 15, which was a 3 plus 12. So,
we for those who joined a little bit late, because there are 2 of us going through as 2 sort of separate characters, we gave ourselves a substantial penalty to our stats when we started. So we're a bit weaker than we would have been if we'd been starting at the beginning with just what we'd rolled. I'm not actually going to take a provisions yet, in the vague hope that there will be other opportunities later, because I'm only 2 off my max. And it feels wasteful somehow. Nice,
yeah. Makes sense. And you are completely correct. I did roll a 17 for my stamina, but then decided to take 2 off of it for the multiplayer reasons.
Yeah, just to make it slightly more challenging, because we were going to have 2 characters in the area. So you may put away any or all of these in your haversack and leave the room. Brilliant. We've got basically all of them. Turn to 293.
Oh, wonderful.
You arrive back at the junction and the passage and walk straight on eastwards. Turn to 113.
113.
I feel it wants us to go east now.
Yeah, I mean, it seems as though we've exhausted most other options apart from that original east.
Down's very nice. 113. You arrive at another junction in the passage. You may either go northwards or continue eastwards. Well, following the logic of just keeping your hand on the left wall, so to speak, northwards would be the way to go, wouldn't it?
I mean, we're assuming we have to go to every room to reach the end. But as I say, it's a tried and tested old school dungeoneering technique.
It is.
I'm happy if that's what you wish to continue doing.
Let's give it a shot, and we seem to have some support from chat on this. Chespionage reckons north is the way to go. I'm on board with that.
Chespionage has not let us down so far.
He's been right about everything so far. Yes.
Exactly.
So we go northwards. Turn to 285 to go northwards.
Wonderful.
You see a well-used door on the right-hand, east side of the passageway. With your ear to the keyhole, you listen and hear a man screaming for help from inside. Will you open the door or walk on? Now here, immediately my system's completely failed me now, because logically, if you keep your hand on the left wall, you ignore this one.
Yeah.
But experience has now told me that these rooms may just be a standalone room and we might never get back here.
Yeah, that is true. And also, we've opened every door. So do we continue opening doors, or do we continue
with a
keeping
hand
a hand on
on
the
the wall?
door?
I
Who
mean,
knows?
oh God, I can't decide these things. It's I suppose what we really need is some support. I would lean towards opening the door, finding out what that screaming's about. Purely because otherwise I'm always going to wonder.
Let's do it then. Let's do it then.
Okay, all right. Will you open the door? Turn to 213.
213.
Aha, foiled. The door is locked. You may try to charge it down by rolling 2 dice. If the number rolled is equal to or less than your skill score, the door bursts open. If the number is greater than your skill score, it remains locked and you lose a stamina point for your bruised shoulder. And you must progress up the passage. I'm tempted to have a go at barging it in, and I think I should do it because if it does fail, I can live the I can live with the stamina hit, I reckon.
Cool. Let's give it a go then.
Let's give it a shot.
After you, good sir.
So, why? Thank you. Right. So, got to roll 2d6. Now rolls equal to or less than the skill score. So it's basically a skill roll. Okay. 6. That is, believe it or not, less than even my very weak skill, which is an 8. So accordingly, yes, we do smash the door open, and we turn to 36 to find out if that was a terrible idea. Yes, turn to 36. Sorry. 36. The locked door bursts open and a nauseating stench hits your nostrils. Inside the room, the floor is covered with bones, rotting vegetation and slime. A wild-haired old man, clothed in rags, rushes at you screaming. His beard is long and grey, and he's waving an old wooden chair leg. Is he simply insane, as he appears, or has this been some kind of trap? You may either shout at him to try and calm him down, or draw your sword and attack him. Does shouting at people really calm them down? Does anyone have that experience, that shouting at people calms them down? Okay, are we going to shout at him or draw a sword and attack him? I mean, if there's any chance we can avoid killing him, we should, right?
Yeah, he's an old man wielding a chair leg. I'd be much more tempted to shout at him than have at him with a sword. Or the two of us have at him with a sword.
Yeah, I tend to feel very strongly that shouting at him is clearly the way to go. Oi!
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we're going to shout at him, and that
in
is
a calming manner.
263. Shout at him in the most calming way possible. Calm down. Okay, you shout, "You are freed, old man," at the top of your voice. Instantly his ranting cease. He stops dead in his tracks and sinks to the floor, weeping loudly. As he gradually composes himself, he thanks you many times. You talk with him in the hope of discovering some of the secrets of the mountain, and he begins to tell his story. Many years ago, he was an adventurer like you, in search of the Warlock's treasure. He was captured by the orcs and thrown into his solitary cell as a sort of pet for the creatures. You ask whether he would like to accompany you into the mountain, but he simply wants to leave and see the world again. You ask him for advice, but he says he knows little. He advises you to pay your respects to the boatman. He tells you that you must pull the right-hand lever on the wall ahead to open the iron gate at the end of the passage. And he's also learned that the keys to the boathouse are guarded by a man and his dog. You shake hands, leave the room, and go your separate ways. So add 1 luck. I actually
that's very
can't.
good.
I'm at max.
Because I spent mine
Aha.
finishing off the
Yes, you did. That's right. Yeah.
servant.
So are you now back to maximum?
I am indeed. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So
Also, did that guy just? I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the knees.
yes, he did. That's exactly what he
Lovely.
did. Yeah. And he was clearly one of these guys who the older he gets, the better he used to be.
And we've got a raid as well. Hello, Infinite Monkey
Hello,
Tales.
Raid. How very, very nice to see you all. Thank you for joining us. We are playing through, not necessarily with particular efficiency, the Warlock of Firetop Mountain as a game book, because we are missing one of our regular traveller players this evening as a stream member, though he has in fact turned up to drunkenly shout at us on the chat.
Which, to be fair, is what he normally does during a stream anyway.
To be fair, you're right, yes.
It's his best quality.
And accordingly, we decided to have a go at the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, the original, the very first fighting fantasy game book. And we're doing it because it seemed like a fun idea. I'm actually quite enjoying it so far. Okay, so the advice he gave us was pay respects to the boatman, pull the right-hand lever on the wall, and the keys to the boathouse are guarded by a man and his dog. He didn't say how many heads that dog has, but there's something about ferrymen and dogs guarding it that makes me think...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's going to be more than one.
It's probably going to be more than one, yeah. Okay, you shake hands, leave the room and go your separate ways. We turn to 314.
I'm assuming.
Further up the passage, so we keep going north basically, you see a door in the east wall. You listen hard, but can hear no sound. Do you want to open the door to investigate or walk further up the passage? I feel very strongly that there is really no way we're going to do anything other than open these doors as we go.
No, I mean, there might be. We heard screaming coming from the last door and we opened it, to be fair. And there's nothing coming from this one, so it sounds,
It sounds sort of inevitably
inviting.
like
we
have to, yes. Yeah, I tend to agree. Okay, so we will open the door to investigate and turn to 223. Excellent. 223. The door is firmly locked. You may try to force it open, or you may continue along the corridor. Are we going to have another go at cracking it open, do you think?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Force it open, turn to 53.
Less of the cowards, Luke.
You charge the door, hitting it squarely with your shoulder. Roll 2 dice, yada, yada, yada. I'll take it again in case it's a stamina hit. Oh, that was a 10. Number rolled is equal to or less. No, it is not equal to or less. The number exceeds my skill score. The door shudders, does not budge, and it costs me a stamina point.
Oh, no. Sorry,
Okay.
Ben.
So, yeah. It costs me a stamina point. Do you want to have a go, or shall we just move on past it?
Let's carry on going. I feel as though we've got to leave some question marks on this map.
Agreed. I mean, it would be weird if we literally explored everything on our first go through.
Yeah.
Turn to 300. Continue up the corridor. 300. On the east wall of the passage, you see another door, this time made of solid metal. Listening at the door, you hear the sound of tortured screams coming from within. If you wish to try opening the door, or ignore the room and continue up the corridor, those are your choices. Last time we tried to open a door, it hurt my shoulder, and that one wasn't, solid metal. But we're going to try anyway.
See what happens.
We'll give it a go. We want to open the door. Turn to 102. The door is not locked. Okay, that's good. And opens. The room in front of you seems to be a small torture chamber. It's so hard to get big ones. With various torture devices around the walls. In the centre of the room, two small hunchbacked creatures are having their fiendish way with a dwarf, who is tied to a hook in the ceiling by his wrists. The two hunchbacks are poking and cutting him viciously with their swords. The dwarf lets out a final scream and falls silent, eyes closed. His captors make disappointed noises and look around angrily at you, as if it were your fault that the dwarf has collapsed. You must act quickly. Will you? And we have three choices here. Close the door quickly and continue up the corridor. Draw your sword and try to fight the creatures. Or stride over to the dwarf, give him a jab with your sword, and put on an evil laugh for the torturers.
I mean, as funny as that is, I feel as though it may not work.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards murdering the hunchback torturers, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you on board with that?
What was the original paragraph number we were on? Sorry, Ben.
That was 102. That was the one I've just read. Yeah.
I'll try and keep on top of things and less in chat.
Panic not. That's 102. So if we're going to have a fight, that's 19. 19. Okay. The two evil creatures are goblins. They attack you one at a time. For our purposes, they won't attack us one at a time. We will take one each. So, do you fancy first or second goblin?
I'll stick with second. That seems to have been the theme so far.
Okay. Second goblin. The goblin you are facing has skill 5 and stamina 6.
Skill 5, stamina 6.
Yep. And I am going to... my goblin has skill 5, stamina 5. So we're going to, have a crack. So my first roll is... That's bad. Very bad. That's a 4. Total of 12. However, my goblin rolled a 3.
Nice.
So even though I did very poorly...
I rolled a 6, plus 9 is 15. And my goblin rolled a 10, plus 5 is 15. Okay. What happens if it's equal, Ben?
Then neither of you score a hit.
Perfect.
Yep.
Well, not perfect, but...
Okay.
I understand completely what you mean.
Yes. Okay, so my second attack is a 6. These dice are not doing me any favours. That's 14. And the goblin rolls another 6. So different 6, but a 6 nonetheless. And that means I've stuck it for another 2. However, I'm going to make a luck check and see if I can turn that into a 3.
Ooh.
And I cannot, is the answer. That's definitely cost me a luck, and it is unimpressed.
Right, I have rolled a 9, plus 9 is 18, which is much better.
And in fact, untouchable.
Exactly.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay.
So I should mark the stamina down.
I'm going to have another go. That's a 3, so that gives me a total of 11. And that's an 8 from the goblin, which is easily enough, costing me 2 stamina.
Nice.
Okay. Now I'm starting to regret not having that food earlier. Okay. And how are you doing?
My roll is a 3, a wonderful 3, which brings me up to a total of 12. Oh, that is not good. That's a 10, which means 15. So I drop 2. Is that right? Is it 2?
Yep. Yes, you lose 2 stamina every time you lose, unless you luck
Yes.
goblin, which is, I'm sure, what
Yeah,
what
yeah,
Leno
it's
and Luke meant to say. You luck
purely
the
a
goblin.
typo. Yeah.
Okay, another go. That's a bit better. A 9 plus 8 is 17. The goblin's got to roll double 6 in order to avoid dying. And it rolled double 3. So my goblin is done for.
Wonderful. My attack is a 5 plus 9, which is a 14. And my gobbo has rolled a 6 plus 5, which is an 11.
Excellent.
Which takes it down to 2.
Brilliant. Okay. I will obviously round on it and help you finish it off as best I can. So my attack on second goblin is an 8 plus 8 is 16.
Wonderful. Much better than mine, which is a 6 plus 9, which is 15.
It's not
Much
that
better
much
by
better.
1.
And how does the goblin do?
And the goblin is a 7 plus 5.
We basically kebab it then.
Yes. Between the two of us.
Die, gardener. Yes. Okay. So I naturally assume that the goblin probably was a gardener.
Yeah. I assume any combatants, anybody who takes up arms against us in this mountain is a gardener, frankly.
Now, to my amazement, there is no option to lick goblins in this paragraph. However, it does say if you kill the goblins, turn to 317, which is indeed exactly what we did.
And it's a fair alternative to licking them.
I think it's probably reasonable.
Yeah.
You cut down the dwarf. He is, as you guessed, dead. Going through the pockets of the 2 goblins, you find a large piece of sweet-smelling cheese. If you wish to take this with you, put it in your pack and leave the room northwards. I mean, I'm guessing sweet-smelling cheese may not be the most useful thing in the world, but we're not leaving it, right, in case we need it?
Yeah, we'll definitely take it with us. I completely misunderstood when it said you cut down the dwarf. I was like, no, we just cut down the goblins. That was the point of the battle, wasn't it? Oh, the English language.
Oh, the English language, yes. Yeah, the was it Boeing who famously had an instruction translated into all their manuals are in English, and you had to have good English in order to work on a Boeing originally. I don't know if they're now multilingual, but they had one of their maintenance manuals that said, at this point in the maintenance procedure, you remove this part, and if it's bent, you replace it. So people were literally taking it out, looking at it, going, "Yep, it's bent," and they put it back exactly where it came from.
That's exactly what just happened.
That's exactly what just happened. Yes.
In fantasy.
Okay, so we leave the room northwards. Turn to 303.
Wonderful.
303. You arrive at the end of the passage where it meets another going east-west. But an iron portcullis blocks your way and no amount of charging is going to budge it. On the wall to your right are 2 levers, and it seems likely these levers have something to do with the portcullis. Do you wish to pull the right lever or the left lever? Now, we do have some inside information here.
We do indeed.
Which we got from a deranged madman who'd spent years locked in a cell on his own dreaming of levers.
Yes. Yeah.
However,
it's the only information we've got to go on.
It's the only information we have. Yes. So it has to be right, doesn't it? We've got to try right.
Yeah. Sorry, Ben. Did you say it runs east-west
Yeah,
or
it's
west-east?
effectively a T-junction running east-west on the other side of the portcullis.
Wonderful. I'll get a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Absolutely.
But yes, definitely the right lever.
Right lever. Okay. And we're
Correct.
assuming that the right lever is in fact the one on the right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the right lever is turn to 128. One, two, eight. You hear a deep rumbling noise and the ground begins to shudder. Slowly and noisily the portcullis rises into the ceiling. You may now walk to the junction. Will you turn west or east?
Well, this is the third time we've been hit with this situation. Do you want to carry on west?
Yeah, I feel that if we clear out the west and then do the east, if that makes sense, we're probably on the right page, but I don't really know.
Yeah. Let's see what's west.
Okay, we turn west. That's 210 is west. 210. Shortly along the passage, you arrive at another junction, where you may either go straight ahead westwards or northwards. And I suppose the obvious thing to do, loosely, is to keep going west, isn't it? Keep our hand on the left wall, so to speak.
Yeah. If we're not opening doors, we're keeping our hand on the left wall.
Okay, we have a plan. I mean, it's a terrible plan, but we have a plan.
Yeah.
Okay, if we're going straight ahead westwards, we turn to 225. The passageway continues westwards and then turns due north. Some way up, you reach a junction where a narrow passage runs off to the west. Will you continue northwards or take the west?
Well,
if we're following our plan, it's turn west.
We are indeed. I suppose it depends how stringently we're going to follow our plans. I'm happy either way, Ben.
Well, let's basically go for west until it proves to be the wrong thing, basically.
Yeah, sure.
So we will take the west way, which is 63. We turn to. As you walk along the corridor, you can see ahead that it is getting narrower. At one point you stoop, and as you do so, a deep resonating laugh starts up around you. Do you wish to continue or turn back? I'm beginning to feel a lot less confident about west.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's trying to tell us something. Although Mr. Leno says we should continue, I'd be interested to hear more opinions
hilarious
from chat, if I'm honest.
Well, given that we effectively do have a save point or two,
yeah.
perhaps pressing on west, we can always go back to a previous one rather than redo the whole thing up to this point. So, 63. We'll continue to 281.
281.
The narrow passageway eventually becomes too small for you to walk along. You get down on your hands and knees and crawl, but eventually you'll get no further and there seems to be no way through. So you decide to return to the main passage. You head for the junction, turn to 10, which is interesting because that's not the number we came from. So
It certainly isn't.
10.
Mr. Leno, that was the worst stand-up comedy club ever.
You arrive back at the junction and turn northwards. Turn to 77.
Holy.
Several metres up the passageway, you arrive at a junction where you might either turn west or east. Set in the rock in the north wall is a small recess where you may rest and eat provisions without being seen. If you wish to take provisions here, do so. Afterwards, you may set off either east or west. Apparently you can only eat when there's a little alcove for you to do it in. It's like those picnic table symbols on maps, isn't it? That's what they are.
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna stick that one in the map.
I think that's a brilliant plan. Yes. Okay. I am definitely going to have a provision.
See, I'm 3 off. Is that? Let's do it. It's the best part of 4, isn't it?
It is the majority. Yes.
Yes. So let's go down to 8 food and back up to 15 stamina.
Right. That's put me back to just 1 down on my sort of resting stamina, my resting bit size. So I'm now up to 18 again. Okay. So west again.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Westward we turn to 18. You walk westwards along the passageway. After 50 metres or so, the way turns northwards. 2 or 3 paces up the passage, you hear a crumbling beneath your feet, and you try to leap back as the ground gives way. Test your luck. If you're lucky, you manage to leap quickly backwards before a pit opens. If you're unlucky, you're too slow, and you fall over 2 metres down into a pit. Okay, so if we are lucky...
It's a good job my luck is full.
Now we're both going to have to be lucky. My luck is not full.
I got a 7, which is enough to beat my 8.
I actually got a 5, which is brilliant. The time I need to roll low, I do, which is good, because I was rolling low when I really didn't want to. That's knocked my luck down to 8, but we have both been lucky.
Oh yeah, I have to go down, don't I?
So if you're lucky, you'd better return to the junction, which is 261, apparently.
Okay.
You reach the junction and continue eastwards. Turn to 345.
345.
You follow the passage eastwards for several metres, then it turns to the north. Shortly you reach another junction where you may either go straight on, or you may turn left into an eastwards passage that soon turns north. That sounded convoluted, sorry. So it goes eastwards for several metres and then it turns to the north.
And then we have
then you reach another junction where you may either go straight on, or you may turn left, and the eastward passage may turn left into an eastwards passage that soon turns north. Huh? Sorry.
That confuses me. We get to the junction.
Follow the passage eastwards for several metres.
Yeah.
Then it turns to the north.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you reach another junction where you may either go straight on, which must be continue north, or you may turn left into an eastwards passage that soon turns north. I assume it's just a typo and they mean turn right into an eastwards passage.
Yeah. Let's do that.
That's my guess. Okay. into an eastwards passage, and that soon turns north. So do we go straight north, or do we go east and then north?
Although that does make a massive difference to our stick to the west wall, or the left-hand wall, doesn't it? But I'm tempted to say carry on straight up.
Yeah, I'm tempted to say that as well. Straight up the north, which is 381 apparently. 381.
381. Perfect.
The passage ends at a wooden door trimmed in iron. Various inscriptions adorn the door, but none makes any sense to you. You listen, but hear nothing. You may open the door or return to the junction. I feel very strongly that it's a door. And therefore, doors have a purpose, and that purpose is to be opened, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have prior with doors, don't we? And all of that involved opening them.
Mm. And we've mostly succeeded.
Espionage, thank you very much for the sub, by the way.
That's lovely. Thank
Sorry,
you.
Ben.
Thank you very much to Espionage. That's brilliant.
It is very much appreciated.
Okay, so what we're going to do is open the door, or try to, which is 84. And then we will find out whether or not it's actually going to open for us. 84. Okay. The door opens into a small room, comfortably furnished with a table, several chairs, and a large bookcase which covers one wall. Seated at the table is an old man with a long grey beard, and squatting on the old man's shoulder is a small winged beast. This creature is no more than 6 centimetres tall. It has 2 arms and legs. Its skin is dusty grey colour. It has tiny, sharp white teeth, and its wings are folded behind its back. The old man says nothing as you walk in through the door, but he beckons you over to sit down at the table. He is tossing in his hand 2 small white objects. Will you sit down, leave the room, or draw your sword and rush forward? I mean, I feel like we don't randomly kill people in this game.
No, I mean, we let the other old man with a long beard.
Yeah,
we shouted some sense into him, didn't we?
He was waving a chair leg at us.
Yeah, well, exactly. Although I do feel that his small winged beast could possibly be a dragon, and we've got a spell to deal with one of those.
That's true.
A very small dragon.
Though a 6 centimetre dragon is...
Yeah.
We're talking about a dragon you could easily crush in your fist.
I think we should sit down.
Okay, sit down as he tells us. That's 204. The old man does not look up from the table, but his devilish little pet eyes you suspiciously and starts chattering in a small, squeaky voice. The old man grunts and asks you whether you're game for a wager. Will you accept? You may only do so if you have at least 1 gold piece with you. If so, turn to such and such. If not, you may either leave the room or attack the man. Well, we do have 26 gold pieces.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Okay. Then let's find out what happens if we play the game. The old man, will you accept? Yes, we will accept, which is 130.
Lovely. What kind of self-respecting adventurer wouldn't take up a wager with a strange old man in a dungeon?
I mean, sometimes these wagers can end badly. I lost one recently, which has kind of stuck me with doing a speech every Friday night for the foreseeable future.
Well, yeah, that's
however, the old man asks you your stake. You may bet between 1 and 20 gold pieces, but not more than you possess. He tosses the white dice he's been playing with to you and asks you to roll. Roll 2 dice, once for yourself and once for the old man. If your total is higher, you win the amount of your stake from the old man. If his total is higher, you lose your stake. You may continue for as long as you have gold pieces and then leave through the door and return to the junction.
Ooh.
Now, if we win, we get to add 2 points to skill, stamina, and luck. And I could use a luck boost. I could even use a point's worth of stamina. So, I'm going to have a go. Because, I'd frankly be perfectly willing to swap 1 gold piece for a go at it.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
And I rolled a 6. And he rolled a 5.
Ooh.
So, I will stop there, thank you very much. Gold's up to 27. And that's restored my stamina back to 19. Very handy. And my luck back to 10. Brilliant. Do you want to have a go as well?
I shall indeed. Right. Ooh, I rolled an 11. It's pretty good going.
That is a good going.
And the old man rolled a 5.
Oh. So, yes, you get to restore basically up to 2 points for skill, stamina, and luck, which may get you more or less back up to full stats.
Yes, it does indeed. I was 1 point off of luck, so I am now back at full.
I needed 1 for stamina and 2 for luck.
Nice.
Brilliant. So, we can thank the old chap and leave through the door. And you won, so I've got to update the gold, sorry.
And some gold, yeah.
So that gets us up to 28. That's very handy. We'll be able to not just, when we get to the ferryman, we'll be able to go water skiing. Right. Great. So we turn to 280 as we leave. .280. Great. You arrive back at the junction and this time take the passageway to the east. See, this time it said east. The passageway runs for several paces eastwards and then turns north. Turn to 311. The passageway ends in a door at which you listen but hear nothing. Trying the handle, you find that the door opens to reveal a large square room. The room is completely bare, but the floor is covered in a mosaic of tiles. 2 shapes stand out on the floor: star-shaped tiles and hand-shaped tiles. A door on the opposite wall is the only way through. Will you just walk across the room to the door, walk across the room stepping only on the stars, or walk across the room stepping only on the hands?
Well, we haven't had any information. The old man didn't tell us about this.
No, we got no useful information from him about this. I feel, frankly, he let us down here.
Yeah, definitely.
This may be me reading too much into it, but I have to feel that if there wasn't some point to either stepping only on stars or on hands, it wouldn't offer you the choice.
Yeah. Was this 311 then? Apologies.
This is 311, yeah.
Perfect. Let's go. I'm tempted to say stars.
Okay, stars. Let's give it a shot. That's 178 is stars. .178. You tiptoe precariously across the room to the door in the north wall. You open the door and proceed through it. Turn to 162. Well, if there was a trap or anything, we've dodged it, apparently.
I mean, there might have been something good that we completely missed. You never
Entirely
know.
possible. But, that's the game. So, 162. The passageway ahead runs northwards, and you follow this until you reach another junction. Here you may either continue northwards, or you may turn westwards.
Up to you.
Well, I have to say, I'm very tempted to just say we'll turn westwards again, because, we've done that a bit.
Yep. Definitely.
Okay.
Make it so.
So let's have a go. We'll turn to 69 then. And if I'd read that first, that would have taken it completely out of my hands anyway. So turning westwards is 69. Some way along the passage, the corridor bends round to the north, and you follow it until you reach another junction. And at this junction, you see an arrow cut into the rock pointing to the north, and you decide to try this direction. Okay, turn to 244. Right, so it basically turns north, the corridor turns north, goes up until you reach another junction. At this point, there's an arrow cut into the rock pointing north, doesn't tell us what the other ways are, and we decide to keep going, so that's 244.
Wonderful. I'll leave those open in case we have to come back.
Yeah. The passage runs northwards, and ahead you can hear the splashings of an underground river. The air becomes cool and fresh. You soon reach a wide opening of a river bank, but despair as you look across to see no way through on the other side. To the east, the river flows through a cave in the rock. You may either sit, rest, and eat provisions, or continue by what seems to be the only way forward, jumping into the river and swimming downstream. So let me be very clear about this. We can't now retrace our steps for some reason. We can't go back. We can't decide we don't want to do that. We can either eat or jump into the water.
Wonderful. So we've got a large open room with a river running through it.
Yep. There's no mermaid apparently sitting on a rock. There doesn't appear to be any way of going back for some reason. I know not why. But apparently you're doing brilliantly with this mapping.
Well, it's the best I've got. It might. I mean, if we have to go back, it might completely be off the scale. But thank you.
To the east, the river flows through a cave in the rock. So, I don't actually need provisions. I mean, I could eat, of course, but it wouldn't do me any good.
Yeah, same. I will not be eaten, as I am at full stats.
Yeah, same
Seems
here now.
Wasteful.
So, I guess, on that basis, we jump in the river, right?
It's the only other option.
399. The current is strong and takes you swiftly downstream. You're washed along through a narrow opening and out into a large cavern with banks on both sides. The current washes you to the south bank. And then tells us to turn to 218. Okay, so I believe we left that by the east, effectively, and there's now a gap to another cavern. Basically.
Into another cavern.
Yep.
And I'm assuming the river continues.
Yep. And this is 399, and then the south bank is 218.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. 218. Oh.
218. You're on the south bank of an underground river facing across its black depths. There appear to be 4 ways of crossing. Oh, God, do we really have that many? 4 ways of crossing. To your left, a rusted bell bears the sign, Ferry Service, 2 gold pieces. You're right, it has gone up. My word, inflation is punishing in these dungeons.
I know.
Yeah. To your left, a rusted bell bears the sign, Ferry Service, 2 gold pieces. Please ring. There's a small raft in front of you on the bank with a long stick resting beside it. so you could punt across the river. There's a rickety old bridge crossing on the right, and if you don't trust any of these, you may swim. Which will you choose? I mean, I'm tempted to say we've literally just climbed out of the water, so swimming shouldn't be a problem. But we did get advice from the old man that said pay your respects to the ferryman.
Yeah, that's what I figured as well. Um, I'm tempted to say the ferryman. Do we have any deciding votes from chat?
I'm tempted to say we ring the bell and talk to the ferryman as well.
Okay.
That would be my guess. Because the guy said pay your respects to the ferryman. I'm slightly worried that if we try and punt it ourselves, it'll turn out to be his raft that we're stealing.
Yeah. Sparrow says the ferryman, so yeah. I say we go with Sparrow.
I tend to agree, and we'll find out what happens after a short break. Because I need a very brief break.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So we will be back in 5 minutes. For more Fighting Fantasy madness.
Yeah, we'll be back in 5. Cheers.
See you in a bit.
And welcome back to part 2 of the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Now, we don't normally do this on a Friday. In fact, we don't normally do this on any day. But we've had a lot of fun doing this so far, and we're going to keep pressing on with this a bit. And we're going to probably finish this book the same time next week, next Friday night, when also Luke will be unavailable. And so we will... and if we run out of Warlock, we will have a crack at the Citadel of Chaos next time as well to just keep going a bit. So where were we? We were stuck by a river looking for a way across, and we had essentially decided, as one does, to ring the bell. Turn to 3. 3. The bell gives a dull clang, and after a few moments you see a withered old man climb into a small rowing boat moored on the north bank. He rows slowly across to you, moors the boat and limps towards you. He asks for 3 gold pieces. This is getting silly. When you protest at the price, he mumbles some flimsy excuse about inflation. He begins to get angry at your protestations. Do you pay him the 3 gold pieces or threaten him?
I think we have to pay him our respects, don't we? Which
I think we do. I think that's what it says. So that means,
generally speaking, in old school dungeon crawling terms, that means gold, doesn't it?
It does mean gold, and we did end up with 28 thanks to a couple of good gambling moments and what have you. So I feel very strongly that we're just going to have to pay him the 3. Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to pay him 3.
It leaves us with 25 to play with later.
What's 1 extra gold piece?
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to spend it on. To be fair, stuck in this mountain, but
okay. So we pay him the 3 gold pieces. Turn to 272. I overshot that a bit. 272. He calms down, takes the gold, and rows you across to the north bank. After mooring the boat, he ambles off down a passageway. Turn to 7. You're on the north bank of a fast-flowing river in a large underground cavern. Turn to 214. Facing northwards, the rock face is smooth and glistening with moisture. Moss of many different hues grows on the surface. There is an eerie silence punctuated only by the splashings of the river as it flows behind you. You have 3 options. A passage runs off to the northwest. You can take that route. A large timber door is directly in front of you in the middle of the rock face. Or another passageway runs out along the river eastwards. Well, it's a door.
It certainly is a door. I'm happy to go with the door. Let's go. Sure. Let's try the door. See what happens.
Try the door. If you open the door, turn to 104, which even rhymes. You find yourself in a short, narrow passageway with a door ahead to the north. You try this door. Turn to 49.
Wonderful. It's not going to be a short passageway because I'm going to attempt to dig myself out of a mapping hole. But
Fair
yes,
enough.
I think we should open the...
The door squeaks open on rusty hinges. The room is dark, and your eyes begin to adjust themselves as you close the door behind you. You hear a shuffling in the room, but before you can react, a blow to your head knocks you senseless. Lose 2 stamina points, and turn to 122. Okay.
Ooh.
2 stamina.
And then we're in a room at this. I shall mark down 2 stamina.
Yeah, 2 stamina. I'm down to 17. And turn to 122. Oh, this room was 49, sorry.
Oh, okay. We'll go with 49. Apologies. There we are.
Or 122. I mean, either I guess would work, but 122. You awake with a throbbing head and look around. The room is about 8 metres square, with doors to the north and south. You've been dumped in the southwest corner. Standing motionless in the centre of the room are 4 men. At least, they appear to be men. Their skin is a greeny-grey colour. Their clothes are tattered and torn, and they're all staring vacantly at the ceiling. One carries a club, one a scythe, one an axe, and one a pick. They're ignoring you completely. Around the room are various peasant-style weapons. Pitchforks, axe handles, pointed sticks, etc. 1 or 2 shields, and several barrels. In the northeast corner is a human corpse with a sword in one hand and a shield in the other. You move your hand up to your head and feel for signs of blood, and you're relieved to find you're not bleeding. But as your hand moves, the strange creatures in the centre of the room turn their eyes down towards you. So, do you try to talk to them, jump to the feet and charge them with your sword, or scramble for an exit through the south door?
Ooh. This feels a slightly more impactful decision.
It does. I mean, the problem is there are 4 of them.
Yes, yeah, certainly. That is the issue. I am still here. Apologies. My cat is being as indecisive as I am. They are armed with peasant weapons, but there does also appear to be somebody with a sword and a shield who has been vanquished in the northeast corner.
Yeah. I mean, they're greeny-grey coloured, tattered and torn. I mean, they're pretty emaciated things. Try and talk to them, or jump to the feet and charge them.
I think we've done quite well so far. I'm going to just put that out there.
Not dead yet.
No, exactly. However, we did lose 2 stamina during opening the door.
Yeah, I'm down to 17, and that was the stamina that we basically lost through, as you say, opening a door.
Yeah, I mean, 17 is not bad.
Yeah.
You're right, Sparrow. They might be looking to eat us. In which case, I still don't know what I want to do.
The question
Let's
is, I mean,
charge them.
if we can talk to them, that might be the way to go. But I'm sort of hoping that if we try that and it fails, they won't do more than give us like 1 combat round's worth of damage before we're allowed to fight back.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we'll just end up in combat anyway, won't we? So
Probably.
I think you're right. Let's give it a go and see what happens.
268.
We'll
try to talk to them. 268. Their vocabulary is limited to a series of moans and groans. They appear not to be intelligent at all. Furthermore, your conversation merely serves to attract their attention to you. They grip their weapons, and it looks as though you'll have to fight them. However, there is a slim chance that you could make it to the door you came in through. If you want to try for that door, turn to 13, and if you're resigned to battle, then battle them. What do you reckon? I'm wondering if there's anything important or potentially valuable in here that might be worth fighting them for, but...
I mean, that is true. There could possibly, this is one of three directions, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which we could take. Let's give it a go. Let's
Give it a shot.
fight them and see what happens.
We are resigned to battle. 282. Okay. The four creatures shuffling towards you are mindless zombies. Their vacant eyes suggest their actions are controlled by a will which is not their own. You're still too dizzy to think properly, but you must act quickly. The first zombie reaches you and prepares to swing his club, and you must fight him. Okay, and then it says if you defeat the first one, add 2 luck points, and turn to face the other 3 and fight each in turn. Right. I actually don't need the luck points. It's a shame it didn't say stamina points, but there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So they are listed in order as zombie, zombie with scythe, zombie with pick, and zombie with axe. So would you rather take the first zombie or zombie with scythe to begin with?
I mean, to be honest, if it was anything apart from zombie with scythe, I'd take them. But I think I'll just take the first zombie if that's all right with yourself.
Okay, your first zombie is skill 7, stamina 6.
Skill 7, stamina 6.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Right, let's have a go. I'm going for zombie with scythe. And that's 16 plays 11. I've knocked 2 off his stamina to begin with.
Ooh, I rolled a 6 plus 9 is a 15. And regular zombie, no side. Oh. Rolled an 11 plus 7 is an 18.
Ouch.
So that's me down to 11.
Regular zombie is dangerous, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm having another go at scything zombie. And I rolled a 5, so that gives me a 13. That's not encouraging. Oh, that's not even close. The zombie did 15. Okay. So so I take a hit the second time.
Right, I rolled a 7 plus 9 is 16. Zombie rolls a 9 plus 7 is 16.
Okay.
So alas, nobody takes any damage.
It could be worse. It could be a lot worse.
It could be much worse. This zombie's
Right.
a toughie, but at least I didn't take more damage.
Round 3. That's better. 9 plus 8 is 17. And the zombie... Ooh, didn't do badly. 15. But not quite good enough.
No 17.
Yep, not quite enough. So okay, it's down 2 more.
Wonderful. That's a 10 from me for 19 total.
Wonderful.
And a 6 for the zombie for a 13 total.
Fantastic.
Which means I finally land a hit. And back to you.
Okay. That's a 7 plus my 8 is 15. And what's that? 13. The zombie with scythe is no more. I mean, it wasn't much to begin with, but now it's even less.
Yeah, it certainly is. Very good. That is a 9 plus 9 is 18.
Ooh, good.
And zombie rolls a 6 plus 7 is 13. Which is pretty good. The tide is turning, I feel.
Is it still up?
It is still up.
Okay. Then in that case, I shall turn to the next zombie, the one with the pick.
Cool.
I feel it's only fair, since there are 4 of them, that we have to take them as quickly as possible in whatever they come.
Work down the line, as it were.
Yeah. That's an 11 for me. With 8, that's 19, which means that zombie immediately takes 2 stamina points.
Nice. Mine is a 9 plus 9 for 18.
Wonderful.
And a 7 plus 4 for the zombie.
Fantastic.
Who is no longer.
Is no longer. Right, your next zombie is Zombie with Axe. And Zombie with Axe has skill of 6 and stamina of 5.
Ooh. Very good.
Yeah. Okay. I am going after Zombie with Pick again. A 5 is not strong. That's a total of 13. 8. Yeah, I lose that one only by a point. 14 the zombie gets. But it's enough to knock me down yet another 2 stamina.
And Zombie with Axe. I rolled a lovely double 1 for an 11. Let's see how well the Zombie with Axe fares. Yeah, easily rolls a 7 plus 6 is 13. Mm-hmm. So I will go down into single digits.
Oh, that doesn't sound
barely, good. Barely, but still single digits. I'm going to change up my dice as well.
Okay. Next, because obviously that's the Zombie with Pick. That's a bit better. I rolled an 11, and Zombie with Pick cannot match that. He's down to 2 stamina.
Nice.
Yes, Luke, we did listen. It turns out the dice are not cooperating.
Yeah, we tried. I rolled a 7 plus 9 is 16.
Wonderful.
And the zombie rolls a 6 plus 6 is 12.
Fantastic.
So we'll knock them down to 3 remaining.
Right, my zombie has 2 stamina left. But my rolling of 5 may not help. That's a total of 13. 14 for the zombie. Oh, God. It's another 2 down for me.
Oh, not good.
Okay. Right.
And I'm up. That is a 4 plus 9 for me. It's a 13. And a 4 again for exactly the same 4 double 2s for the zombie for a 10.
Okay.
I'm going to push my luck on this one.
All right.
And try and finish this zombie off. I'm going to luck zombie. And I rolled an 8, which is my luck. Which Brilliant. Succeeds, right?
Yes, that does succeed, which means that he takes an extra stamina. Is that enough to knock him down?
That is indeed, and my luck goes down to 7.
Okay. Brilliant. So, in that case, was your luck at max before you started?
It was.
Okay. Because the way it's written, it says if you defeat the first zombie, add 2 luck points and then turn to face the others. So it won't get you that one back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Which means the 2 of us are facing Zombie with Pick. He currently has skill 6, stamina 2.
Right. Very good.
So if I roll for me, that's a 7 plus 8 is 15.
And then I'll roll for me, which is a 5 plus 9 for 14.
Okay. And zombie, 7 plus 6 is 13. So between us, we dispatch him.
Good teamwork.
Good teamwork, yes.
Good teamwork.
If you defeat all 4, which we have, believe it or not, turn to 115. Not without cost. It has...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The poor wretches lying dead at your feet almost look happy to be relieved of the burden of life. But as you look down at them, you sense you're not the only one to know of their deaths. Looking around the room, you may investigate the weapons lying around, go over to the dead body in the northeast corner, or check in the barrels.
It's toughy. What do you think, Ben?
I don't know how the book's written and whether or not we get to have multiple goes at this. You know, if we check one thing, can we then go and choose to check the others?
Yeah.
If we were allowed to check them, you know, one after another, I'd say just go for the first one. But just in case we're not, I'd be tempted to say the dead body is likely to have the best loot.
Yeah. My initial thought was, if we only get one, not the zombies, barrels or potential adventurer in the corner. So let's go with your initial thoughts.
Dead body in the northeast corner.
Yeah. Sounds good.
It just, I think dead body might have more loot on it than peasant weapons or barrels. But I could well be wrong. Okay, to go over to the dead body in the northeast corner, we turn to 313. 313. You check over the body. The poor wretch was obviously caught in the same way that you were, but his weaker skull shattered under the club's blow. He wears a suit of leather armour no better than your own. He holds a wooden shield on one wrist, and clutches a steel-bladed sword in his other hand. In his pockets are 8 gold pieces, and around his neck is a silver crucifix. You can take any of these 2 items you wish, write them on your equipment list, and turn to 221. You can also add a luck and a skill point.
Ooh.
Now, my luck is at max. My skill hasn't shifted since the beginning. So basically, we can have a sword, the coins, the crucifix, or the shield, I guess. And we're allowed to take 2, so 1 each?
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
I mean, we can add 8 to our gold pieces. The crucifix, the sword. What do you fancy?
I'm quite tempted to say the crucifix.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you take the crucifix, I mean, given that we don't actually know what we're going to need.
No. Unless, of course, you're particularly interested in that, in which case I'm happy to choose something else.
No, that's fine. If you're taking the crucifix, I'm actually perfectly happy to leave the coins and grab the sword. Not knowing what any of them do, but I think we've got gold pieces, and we've got more than we're likely to absolutely need.
Yes. Especially as we've paid the ferryman.
Yeah. We've still got 25 gold on us. So, yeah, I'm going to take the sword. And well, it may turn up to be important later, or it may not. But either way, write them on your equipment list so you can have a luck point back if you need one.
I do indeed.
Excellent.
Perfect.
And write them on your equipment list and turn to 221.
This is where we find out whether we can loot anything else in the room.
What are the mysterious items you have collected? Which have you written down first on your equipment list? The first one we wrote down, or I wrote down, was the crucifix. So the first one, turn to 170 for the crucifix.
This sounds ominous.
It does.
It must be said.
The crucifix is solid silver and worth 4 gold pieces. Record this on your adventure sheet and turn to 319. 319. To find the secret of the second item you've collected, turn to 221 and investigate. Okay, and then if you've investigated both, turn to 81. So we go back to 221.
Yeah.
And I went for the sword, which is 27. The sword is enchanted and will aid you in battle. As long as you use this sword, you may increase your initial skill by 2 points. And you can also add 2 points to your current skill value. And I get to add 2 points to my luck for finding it. Throw your old sword away and turn to 319. If you'd rather keep your own sword, leave the skill as it is and just take the luck bonus. No, I'm entirely happy with the better sword. So I get to increase initial skill and add skill of 2 points. I will do that.
Yep.
And then turn to 319. Right. Okay, so skill is now 10 when using the sword. I don't think it'll help me when I'm barging a door open or the other things you do with that. Okay. Brilliant. Investigated both items, turn to 81. Okay. 81. A noise startles you, prompting you to leave the room quickly. You walk up to investigate the north door and turn to 205. The door opens and you find yourself in a dark crypt of some kind. The room is very large. At one end is an altar and various coffins are strewn about the room. There's a door behind you in the south wall and also one in the west wall. If you want to investigate the room further, turn to 254. But if the place gives you the creeps, you can leave via the west door. I feel sort of weirdly that we're going to have to investigate before we move on because we never know what we're going to find.
Yeah, sure. Let's.
I mean, this could just be where the zombies were entombed, couldn't it?
Which would make sense. What was the number of where we are?
205.
205. I was too busy concerning myself with how big this large room was going to be. And getting myself back on track to the middle of the larger grids, 5x5 grid squares.
Indeed, yeah. So 205, various boffins are strewn around the room, yes. So we will go to 254 and do a quick investigate.
Perfect.
The silence is deathly. A slow drip startles you as you creep around the coffins. The altar is ornately carved and studded with jewels. Beautifully woven drapes hang from the walls, although they are threadbare in places. There are 3 coffins in the room. That's suspicious. A creaking noise makes you whirl around, and the light from your lantern falls upon the largest coffin. It is opening. As you watch, a tall man with a white face sits upright. His eyes open and fall on you. His expression changes from one of tranquility to one of abject hate. His mouth opens, and a terrifying hiss comes from his throat. His teeth are wolf-like. He beckons you to come over. Do you approach him as he wishes, draw your sword and prepare to fight, reach into your bag for another means of attack, or run for the west door? Now, maybe it's just me, but I'm feeling this is a vampire.
Yes, I certainly feel as though my crucifix may have some kind of advantage here to be had.
I'm wondering if when it says reach into your bag for another means of attack, when we turn to 279, is it going to say, did you pick up the crucifix from the last room?
Do you have the sweet cheese in your possession?
It could be the sweet cheese.
No, I mean, you're probably right. It's probably the crucifix.
Yeah.
I am happy to reach into my bag for a
Okay.
crucifix at seeing something coming out of a coffin.
Let's try that then. 279. The creature you are facing is a vampire. You have various lines of attack. Your sword will do little real damage. A crucifix will hold him at bay but will not kill him. If you have either of these, you may use it to get you through the west door. If you're determined to kill the vampire, you must overpower it and drive a wooden stake through its heart. If you have a wooden stake and wish to try to kill the vampire, do this. If you have none of these, draw your sword and turn to 333. Now, that's slightly confusing. Hold on. Okay, so when it says a crucifix will hold him at bay, if you have either of these, that sounds to me like there were actually two crucifixes in the game, and we've only got one of them.
Yeah.
Because the sword will do little real damage. So we don't have a wooden stake. So what we need to do, apparently, is hold up the crucifix, keep him at bay, and then leave through the western door, because we don't
Proceed
have a
westwards.
wooden stake.
Yes, as we have been for.
In order to get the wooden stake, you probably had to turn right at some point.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would imagine so, or possibly kill the old man wielding a chair leg or something, a wooden chair leg.
Yeah.
And then whittle that into a stake. Who knows?
Whittling it, yes. But there is clearly something we did not do. But we can hold the vampire at bay using the crucifix, and flee through the west door, which is 380.
Perfect.
You're in a narrow east-west corridor. Looking westwards, you can see a crossroads ahead. You go onto the crossroads and turn to 37.
Wonderful.
Okay. Standing at the crossroads, you can go north, south... north, west or south. So we basically go south because it's turning left?
Yeah. Is this the first three-way decision we've had to make?
Essentially, yeah. That alarms me a bit.
It does. Judging by our map, which obviously we have been advised to do in real life, I believe that could possibly lead to some more rooms and then link up with that northwest passage that came out of the north bank of the river, possibly.
And searching for the northwest passage has been a preoccupation of humanity.
Yeah, it certainly has.
We should definitely do that then. Let's try it, yes. So we will turn south. That's to 277. So this junction was at 37. Apparently.
37.
37 was the number for the actual junction itself. And then we're going to turn south, which is to 277.
Brilliant.
You're in a short passageway, which comes to a dead end several metres ahead of you. You may search for secret passages, or you may return to the crossroads and either follow to the north or turn to the west. Okay. Well, since it offers us a chance to search for secret passages...
Yeah, I mean, you'd be foolish not to, wouldn't you?
You would, I feel, yes. So let's search for secret passages. That's 146. You find no secret passages. You return to the crossroads and proceed either northwards or westwards.
Wow. I mean, that's a west then, isn't it?
It's got to be a west. So turn
That's the
to
plan.
11.
That is some good writing there, though, to lure you into. Oh, we're going to find a secret passage. Oh no, we're
Yeah,
not.
definitely. 11. You follow the passage westwards until it turns round a corner to the south. Just before the bend is a signpost which reads "Under construction." I mean, bear in mind this was written before the internet. In front of you is the beginning of a stairway leading downwards. Only 3 steps have been built so far. A number of shovels, picks, and other tools are lying on the ground by the steps, but as you turned the corner, they suddenly flurried into action and began working on the steps. You're now watching various tools digging and hammering as if being handled by invisible workers. A humming chant becomes louder, and you recognise it as "Hi ho, it's off to work we go." As you stand watching, you start to chuckle. The scene is quite amusing. You sit and watch and even manage to chat to some of the magical tools. You can gain 2 stamina points and a skill point while you relax.
Oh, 2 stamina points is a welcomed thing.
Then turn back up the passageway to the crossroads, where you may either go northwards or southwards. So those 2 stamina are brilliant. Thank you.
They are indeed. My stair drawing abilities are limited. They're going to have to be very wide stairs. And I feel we have to go northwards.
I think we have to go northwards, yeah, to 366 now.
Perfect.
366. You're following a passageway which leads ahead to the north. After several metres, it bends sharply to the east. You continue eastwards until you eventually come across a narrow opening in the north wall. You can go through the opening or continue eastwards. It's not technically a door, so our rules have completely failed us at this point.
I mean, it's a narrow opening.
Yeah. That, I suppose, is the question. So what do we do? Do we go through the opening or do we press on? I mean, even if it's not a door, should we go through it?
It keeps us on our... well, actually, it doesn't keep us on our mission then, does it? Because I'm sure there's been at least one westward. In fact, that northwest turning, although that wasn't a door, was it? So,
no, it wasn't a door, that one.
Yeah, so that doesn't count. Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens.
So we go through the opening, turn to 89.
There we go.
You climb through the opening and find yourself at the top of a narrow staircase leading downwards. Cautiously, you descend the stairs. And it then just says, turn to 286, which, to me, seems like an absolutely perfect place to break. Because I'm not going to turn to look at what it says at 286.
Because we need a cliffhanger.
And all we know is that we're looking down this flight of stairs, and we will find out.
That does sound perfect. I'm going to stick a 286, was it?
Yeah, 286 is where we're turning to next. We're at 89, and I'm going to close the book without even looking at 286.
Wonderful.
We'll find out what that's going to be.
Jot it down because I don't know how good the save function is on this website, so we shall see.
Brilliant.
And I'm also going to zoom out and take a big print screen, I think, once we are gone.
That is some superb mapping, Ewan. Well done.
Well, thank you very much. It goes very west and very north. I feel as though a few dimensions have been missed, but I think that's more due to choices.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there were ways we could have ended up with a wooden stake, for example.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
But it
But
is,
there was,
after all, part of the point of these games. I mean, these books you were expected to play through more than once in order to find out what was at the missing areas you never visited.
yeah, and I very much imagine that there's more than one way to get through it.
Oh, yes, yes.
Um, yeah,
There'll only be one final door or whatever, but there are probably a lot of different routes.
yeah,
And not just geographically, but routes in terms of, do you have any ways of getting past that vampire, for example, if you don't have either the crucifix or a stake?
yeah, definitely.
Because it implied that you probably only do like one damage rather than two with a sword.
Yeah,
And it might be a very, very tough opponent, but of course we didn't fight it, so I don't know what its stats look like.
yeah. It's also a great way to go about designing certain situations for TTRPGs as well.
Yeah.
There is one door to finally get you to the big boss battle, but essentially there are various routes that will lead you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's a bit of a masterclass, actually, in terms of how to do that kind of thing well. Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for everyone who's stuck around while we did this. We will be doing the second part of this, and we may well even finish it, the same time next week. That's next Friday evening at 11 o'clock UK time.
Yeah.
But before then, tomorrow, we are going to play the next in our usually Friday, but this weekend Saturday, Traveller campaign, our ongoing Traveller campaign. We're pressing on with the investigation. We were quite tempted to actually do so in Luke's absence today, and then when he, just wrap up the whole murder case and everything before he got back, because that would really annoy him. But instead, we'll be doing that tomorrow night when he's actually around again. So,
Can you imagine how annoyed he'd be if the Buckyball scores came in and he wasn't here?
I know, wouldn't that be horrible?
He would not be a fan.
We probably shouldn't tell him that we rolled them at the start of the episode then. No, we didn't. We didn't. I promise.
No, we definitely wouldn't roll those without you.
Right. Yes, thank you very much, everybody. We will see you tomorrow night for Traveller, if you're around, 11 o'clock UK time. Luke will be playing some video games on Monday, I believe. And then next weekend, in this slot, on Friday night, we'll be doing the rest of Warlock of Firetop Mountain. And if we run out of that, then we'll either have a go at some of the bits we missed, or we'll start off Citadel of Chaos. We'll play it by ear. Thank you very much. Ewan, you got anything else you wanted to say?
No, I believe you've covered everything perfectly. A quick personal question: is Citadel of Chaos number 2 in the series?
It is, yes.
Which is the perfectly logical place
to go
from
from my
number 1.
parents' place and just collected the first 8 from my bookshelf, because I didn't feel the need to pick up more than the first 8 to be going on with.
Yeah, that's a lot of content. Love it. Brilliant. It's been great fun. Thank you very much. Thank you for reading me that bedtime story.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's like
very old-fashioned kind of entertainment.
It was great fun. Definitely. And we should do it again after next week.
Brilliant.
Good.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and good night from us.
Good night.